Okay, second question, I'm going to ask it, mention some types of asexual reproduction. Mention some types of asexual reproduction. Takes from one parent. This is properties or characteristics, Ahmed Abdulrazak, not types. I want types of asexual, not properties. But this we can consider it as what? We can consider this as characteristic or property involves only one parent, okay? So this is not the right answer. Actually, I don't know what to do for you, but this is not the right answer. For the question, I mean for that question. Tamim, budding, binary fission, and fragmentation, TA, fragmentation. Okay, that's a great answer, Tamim. Budding, binary fission, and fragmentation. So mention some examples of each one of these types. Mention some examples for each type. Of asexual reproduction.
Teacher, what do we have to do? I just arrived.
This question?
What question?
Last question here. You see it? You are not able to see the question? Do you have a chat area?
Yes, I do, but I just arrived.
You just arrived. We are asking a question and you answer the question here in the chat area.
Okay.
Okay. The question says here, I shared the screen so you can see it. That's the question. Mention some examples of each type of asexual reproduction. We have mentioned here some types. Let me mention them. Budding, binary fission, fragmentation. I want some types of organisms that reproduce by budding and binary fission and fragmentation. Let's take budding, for example. Examples for budding. Then examples for binary fission, and an example for fragmentation. Anybody would answer? What are examples of budding, guys? Some examples of budding. Some example of binary fission. Some examples of fragmentation. We talked about this yesterday. Budding. What are examples of some organisms that reproduce by budding? Anybody knows? What is this? What is this, Ahmed? You write something. We can't understand it. Examples of budding, guys. Fragmentation, an organism can develop from the piece, from the original, a new star, C star, can develop from a piece of an old C star. Yes, this is very good, and we have an example, we have a picture for that. So C star example for fragmentation. What are some examples of budding? So this is for fragmentation, for this one, fragmentation. We want example for budding and binary fission. Budding, sponge, yes, and what else? Sponge and bacteria for what? Yes, bacteria. So budding, sponge, and hydra too, if you remember hydra. Bacteria, budding. Bacteria, not budding. Bacteria, binary fission, not budding. Binary fission, bacteria. But here, no, this is not the right answer. It's not the right answer, Ahmad. Bacteria is binary fission. Okay, so let's recap on all of that. We have mentioned 3 types of asexual reproduction. There are many types. We have mentioned only 3, which are budding, binary fission, and fragmentation. Example for some organisms that reproduce using budding, hydra, and sponges. Examples of organisms that reproduce by binary fission are bacteria and some protists. Example for organisms that reproduce using fragmentation is C star. So let's start talking about today's lesson, and let's see that we will take an example, animal reproduction. We'll talk about animal reproduction, this interactivity or this activity. Let's pick someone to read with us. Ahmed Abdurazak, you read. Ahmed? Yeah, Ahmed.
Yes, teacher.
Read this slide here.
Can you describe how an aquarium moon jellyfish population will change over time?
Yes.
This virtual lab activity will help a local aquarium prepare for moon jellyfish exhibit. Use the worksheet that goes along with this activity. You will be able to use navigation buttons. They will appear to the right of the investigation tab. To repeat or to go back, area.
So this is talking about, never mind by the last paragraph. Here in this virtual lab activity, you will help local aquarium. We are talking about reproduction in animals today. Okay, guys? We will talk about some examples of animal reproductions. And we'll talk about jellyfish life cycle. We will talk about jellyfish life cycle. So we have here learning outcome. Tamim Nashmi, Tamim.
Yes.
To read
Observe and,
this.
observe and identify each stage of the moon jellyfish life cycle. Observe various forms of reproduction in moon jellyfish.
So here, observe and identify each stage of moon jellyfish life cycle. We will see the life cycle of moon jellyfish, a type of jellyfish, and observe various forms of reproduction in moon jellyfish. Okay, guys, let's see that. And let me pick someone you to answer. Ali Mitar al-Gannas. Ali.
Mister.
Ali, I want you to read this here. Read this one.
You have been hired by a local aquarium to breed the moon jellyfish. Aquila art. From upcoming exhibition or jellyfish reproduction, click on the magnifying glasses in the tank to learn about the stages of the jellyfish life cycle. After exploring all stages, click next.
Yes. So imagine that you have been hired by local aquarium to breed moon jellyfish. We want to breed moon jellyfish, how they are breeding, how they reproduce. So we will see through this magnifying lens the life cycle of jellyfish. We will follow this cycle. We will start with this one. And maybe someone to read.
Teacher, can
Yes.
I read?
Who are you?
Abdurrahman Malhan.
Abshir Abdurrahman. Okay, read. So this is the first stage. It's called adult meiosis.
Adult males moon jellyfish release sperms. Females take in the sperms through their mouth. Fertilization, fertilization,
Fertilization.
fertilization occurs internally, and
Internally.
the egg develops internally, and the egg develops inside the female. Embryos embryos types take 7 to 11 days to develop.
Yes, embryos take typically 7 to 11 days to develop. And the egg inside the female jellyfish. Complete reading.
Adult medusas usually do not live longer than a year.
They often die off quickly after they have reproduced.
So they often die quickly after they have reproduced and they don't live more than 1 year. So this is the first stage. Again, the title, the objective here, we are investigating the life cycle of jellyfish as an example of animal reproduction, animal sexual reproduction. I will say our objective in this lesson again, investigating life cycle of moon jellyfish as an example of sexual reproduction. It involves two parents, male and female, and we'll see different stages that happens during the reproduction. Number one here, the first stage, the adult meduses or the adult males of moon jellyfish will release sperms, and this sperms, female will take in the sperm through their mouths, and this sperm will fertilize the eggs inside the female jellyfish, occurs internally, and the eggs develop inside the female. The eggs develop inside the female. Embryos inside the eggs typically take 7 to 11 days to develop. Remember, for humans it takes about 9 months. In cows it takes about 11 months, and so on. For each type of animal it will take a different type for embryo to develop. In the jellyfish it takes only 11 days, from 7 to 11 days to complete embryos inside eggs. This is the first stage. This is the second stage. Let's read the second stage.
Can I read Mr. Ibrahim Ghawir?
Ibrahim, Abshir Ibrahim. Okay. Read larva or larvae. Read this one.
Moon jellyfish eggs hatch inside the adult female free-swimming larvae are then released into the ocean. Within a week, these larvae anchor to the bottom of the ocean.
Anchor to the bottom of the ocean.
Anchor to the bottom of the ocean or your aquarium tank and develop into
polypus. So
yes.
the second stage, larva will be produced. And this larva will be produced from the female. After 7 to 11 days from the eggs inside the female, they will release larva. Again, they will not lay eggs, they will release direct larva. So the eggs develop inside the female moon jellyfish. After this, they will release to the ocean or to the aquarium that you are reproducing or putting jellyfish inside it, larva. Moon jellyfish eggs hatch inside the adult female. So they hatch inside the female. Free swimming larvae are then released into the ocean. This larva will be released into the ocean. Just dots. You see these dots? This is larva. Okay, not eggs, it's larva. After hatching. Then released into the ocean. Within a week, this larva anchor to the bottom of the ocean or your aquarium tank. They anchored within a week to the bottom of the ocean. And they will develop to the next stage, which is polypus. We will see what is polypus right now. So first stage, the fertilization process. After this, releasing larva to the aquarium medium. And after this, what will happen? They will anchor to the ocean bottom. And let's see what happens next. And معن البشري معن.
Yes, teacher.
I want you to read the third stage of moon jellyfish life cycle. Read this one. This is polyp and this is reproducing polyp. Read this one here.
Okay. Once a free-swimming larva attaches to a hard surface, it develops into a polyp. Polyps can live for years. With the right ocean conditions, they reproduce asexually in your tank. Polyps can be ready to reproduce in a few months. During asexual reproduction, a polyp produces a stank of shaped plates. The plates break away from the polyp one at a time, forming tiny identical jellyfish.
Identical jellyfish. So this polyp will produce not only one jellyfish, it will produce many jellyfish. Okay, so once a free swimming larva is a singular, and the plural you add e. We take it in the previous one. Once a free swimming larva attaches to the hard surface, the bottom of the ocean, it means it develops into a polyp. This is called polyp. Polyp can live for years. Okay, the polyps can live for years. With the right ocean conditions, they reproduce asexually. So the polyp here, larva, this will make a polyp. This polyp can live here for years, and it reproduce asexually. It will reproduce many of jellyfish asexually in your tank. Polyps can be ready to reproduce in a few months. Okay. During asexual reproduction, a polyp produces a stack of medusa-shaped plates. This one is called medusa-shaped plates. The plates break away from the polyp one at a time, forming tiny genetically identical jellyfish. So, identical at each time, one jellyfish will be separated from this reproducing polyp. This polyp produces or developed from the larva. The larva attached to the hard bottom of the ocean, and it can be there for years. They will develop into a reproducing polyp, this one that have many branches, as you see, and in each time, one of the jellyfish will be separated from it to the ocean. One in each time. The plates break away from the polyp one at a time. Okay, forming a tiny genetically identical jellyfish. So this is a sexual reproduction. Remember, we started with sexual. After this is asexual. So the life cycle of jellyfish includes both types of reproduction. Sexually, in the beginning, the sperm and eggs and the adult meduses, and then is a sexual reproduction for the polyp. What I want to say here from this example, that some animals have both of sexual and asexual reproduction during their life. So the idea that some animals have sexual and some other animals has asexual only, this idea can be changed here by studying the life cycle of moon jellyfish, because here we have what? We have both sexual and asexual life cycle in one animal. So we finish this one. Last one. Let's me pick someone to read it.
مين سعد المانع؟
Who's talking?
سعد المانع.
سعد المانع. Okay, سعد محمد سعد. Okay, سعد. Read سعد. Read this one.
Okay.
This is called juvenile meduses. Juvenile meduses. Okay.
Okay. Polyplus releases juvenile meduses one at a time. Each of these young jellyfish take at least 3 months to grow and mature into adult meduses.
Medusa. Yes, medusa. So this is the small one, a juvenile meduses, released from what? From the polypus, once at a time, one at a time, and it will develop into a mature adult medusa in what? In 3 months. Okay, guys. So that was the last thing. So I want someone to read this one. The end of this one, and Turkey الدحيلان. You read before Ahmed Abdelrazak. Again, we will take Turkey الدحيلان. Are you there? Turkey الدحيلان. يا تركي. Turkey is not answering us. طيب عبد الله الملحم.
Yes.
عبد الله. I want you to read this slide here, all this slide.
You need to give the museum a timeline for when individuals at different stages at the life cycle might be present in the tank. That way, their guides and volunteers can be prepared to talk about the jellyfish in the tank.
Yes. Here, stop here. This is enough. Here is talking about timeline. We said for example, I give you example. After the fertilization process, the male jellyfish releases sperm, and the female will take the sperm with the mouse, and fertilization happens internally. It will take from 7 to 11 days for egg to complete the embryos inside it, to be fully mature. So this is a point in a timeline. After this, you will have what? After this, you will have the larva will be produced, released into the ocean, and it will be anchored to what? To the bottom of the ocean. And polypus will be developed in how many months? It will take several months, a few months, to develop into what? Reproducing polypus. So the first one here, let me check you. The first one, it take 7 to 11 days. You have to write this in your timeline. After this, larva, and you're searching from what's happening and what is the period needed for this change. Moon jellyfish eggs are released and anchored to the bottom of the ocean, okay, and develop into polypus. This will take few weeks, maybe, or 1 week. After this, once a free-swimming larva attaches to the hard surface, it develops into a polyp. Polyp can live for years. This polyp can stay there for years, but we don't talk about this. In your tank, polyps can ready to reproduce in a few months. So the polyp will produce a new jellyfish, okay, in a few months. So it takes a few months to produce a new what? A new jellyfish. And that's how you do the timeline. What is happening over time? What is happening over what? Over time. Okay. After this, juvenile medusis is produced, and that's it. And let me take another one. Laith.
Yeah.
Read this paragraph. Currently, you have
tank with several again adult
adult jellyfish. Yes.
aging adult jellyfish. One of the females has just released larvae. The adult jellyfish will likely die off within the next month. Use slider see how the jellyfish population might change over time. Open the notebook to record which stages of the life week. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. Complete the worksheet to finish this virtual lab.
So he's talking here from 0 to 1 week. What stages of the life cycle are present at 0 to 1 week? What is in this cycle? What is in this cycle, guys? From 0 after the fertilization. What exists in this cycle? The first day for fertilization until 1 week. Do we have larva? Do we have juvenile medusis, adult jellyfish, or what exactly do we have? Anybody knows? You see, we have it here. From 0, we have what? We have larva. You see this one?
It's the life cycle.
Yes, life cycle. Here 0 week and there is 1 week. Let's go like this. After 1 week, we will have what? Polypus. After 1 month, jellyfish dies. Okay? The male jellyfish dies. After this 3 months, the polypus turned into reproducing polypus and start to produce new small jellyfish, juvenile medusis, or the small or new jellyfish, moon jellyfish. After 6 months, they have grown into fully mature jellyfish. After 1 year, you will have this. Remember that polypus is continuing to live there. After 1 year, you have a lot of adult moon jellyfish, as you see right here. So you can record this in your notebook. Yes, who's talking?
Laith, Turkey isn't absent. He's not absent, just he didn't hear you.
Okay. So from 0 to 1 week, what we have from 0 to 1 week? We have larva. Okay. After 1 week, larva anchor to what? Anchor to the hard surface on the bottom of the ocean. After 1 month, adult jellyfish dies. After 3 months, new jellyfish are formed. After 6 months, some of jellyfish produced or developed into adult jellyfish. After 1 year, most of the new jellyfish are adult, and there is still new jellyfish, as we see right here. This is the life cycle of one organism or one animal, which is jellyfish, includes asexual and sexual reproduction, both of them. Now let's go to the book itself and read about sexual reproduction.
Teacher, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Did you say my name?
No, not yet, Sulaiman.
Okay.
So finish this one. So we'll talk about here sexual reproduction. Let's pick someone to read. And Muhammad Abdullah. Who are you?
Abdurrahman Malham.
You read before Abdurrahman. Muhammad Abdullah Salim Al-Abud. Muhammad Abdullah.
Yes, Mister.
طيب Muhammad, read this one. Sexual reproduction.
Sexual reproduction. Consider the variety of trees, birds, fish, and plants in the world around you. Clearly, many life forms are in queue. When organisms reproduce sexually, their offspring display a variety of
A
traits.
variety of traits. A variety of traits.
Even members of the same species are not exact copies of each other. Sexually, reproduction is responsible for the variety of the life you see.
So sexual provide a great resource of variation in the world because it includes two parents, and the mix between the genetics or the genes from male and female make this variety, and also some other processes that happen during sexual process producing this variety. So the sexual reproduction is responsible for the variety of life you see. This is very important, or what this paragraph is talking about. After this, we'll talk about what is asexual reproduction. Muhammad Yasser.
Yes, Mister.
Muhammad, I want you to read this second slide. Read it, second paragraph.
In sexual reproduction,
Sexual.
two parents combine their genetic material to produce a new organism which differs from both parents. Sexual reproduction
Involves.
involves an egg cell and a sperm
Egg cell and
cell
sperm.
joining to form a new cell in a process called fertilization. Sperm cells are from the father and contain half of the father's chromosomes. Chromosomes egg cell are formed from the mother and contain half of the mother's chromosomes. When fertilization occurs, a full set of chromosomes it is present in the new cell because
Yes.
of
No, stop here. Thank you, Muhammad. So this is sexual reproduction. Let's see the definition of sexual reproduction. That's the definition.
Sexual reproduction. A reproductive process that involves two parents that combine their genetic material to produce a new organism which differs from both parents.
So the main thing about sexual reproduction, it involves male parents that combine the genetic material to produce an organism with which differs from both parents. And we talk about this. You remember N and 2N from yesterday. We say we have humans, for example, 23 in the sperm, 23 chromosomes from the sperm, 23 from the egg. When the sperm and the egg combine together in a process called fertilization, we have 46 for humans. We talked about this yesterday. We take it in the video yesterday. You can go back to the video of yesterday. I have uploaded it, the lecture of yesterday. So this is called sexual reproduction. Okay. Sexual reproduction involves an egg cell and sperm cell joining to form a new cell in a process called fertilization. So this is the fertilization definition. Okay. Two parents combine the genetic material, and this is the definition of the first one, which is the sexual reproduction. Let's listen to the definition of fertilization.
Fertilization. The process in sexual reproduction in which an egg cell and a sperm cell join to form a new cell.
So the process in which the process in sexual reproduction in which an egg cell and sperm cell join to form a new cell. This is called fertilization. Okay, guys, and when they join to each other. Sperm cell from the father contains half of genetic material. This is important. Okay. An egg cell from the mother and contains half the mother's chromosomes. When fertilization occurs, a full set of chromosomes is present in the new organism, the new cell. So that's what happened in sexual reproduction and fertilization. Now let's talk about this paragraph. Let me pick someone to read it. Khalid Al-Isa.
So can I read Faisal?
Okay, if Khalid didn't read, you read Faisal. Khalid Al-Isa. Khalid.
Yes, mister.
Okay, Khalid, can you read this paragraph? Because of.
Okay. Wait, I don't see it. I don't see a thing, mister.
You didn't see from the beginning?
No, I don't see your screen. Yeah.
You see it right now?
No, until no.
I shared it with you.
I see black.
Black.
Yeah, I see.
No, mister, I see it. It's a problem.
Leave and join back. It's a glitch.
Yeah.
Faisal, read. Okay, Faisal, read this slide, paragraph.
Yes, from where, mister?
From because of spring, yes.
Because of spring receive roughly half their genetic information from each parent, they receive a combination of specific characteristics. A specific characteristics that an organism can pass to its offspring through its genes is called a trait. A gene is
A gene.
A gene is sequence of DNA that determines a trait and is passed from parent to offspring. As a result, offspring may look very similar to their parents, or they may look very different, like the wild dogs in Figure 2. These differences are known as variations.
This one, wild dogs. Okay, these differences are known as variations, and they are what make you different, complete
From your siblings. Individual variations
depend on which genes were passed on from each parent.
From each parent. So we'll talk about this in the next session. Today, right now, I'll give you a quiz. We will start from here with a new activity for the genes, because this is another thing. We have to give it its own time, genes and the traits. And right now, I will give you a quiz about, like the quiz of yesterday. It's about sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, both of them. That's the link. And that's the pen. Mm-hmm. Okay, join quickly. I'll start the quiz right now. We have only 6 players. I want all of you to join, guys.